Okay, that leaves us with one thing I didn't talk about, which is the ability component. Now, the ability component relies on the state component, like I said before. Every state will have its own abilities. So if you take attacking as an example, let's just show you, for example, equip for now, because equip will also depend on abilities. So I showed you idle before, which by all means does nothing. I mean, it's just a state. It doesn't perform anything. Let's take equip as another example, which we covered earlier. We checked here that can perform state will check the ability that you have linked within this function. This function will check in return whatever you hook up with it. So basically, any state that has a variable or variables with an S that can be performed can be put here. This can be a single variable, it can be an array, you can have multiple arrays if you like, or no problem. So for equip, we checked can perform ability, which will do this. However, this doesn't only mean that can you, like you see here, we only have like one ability, but on attacking condition, we have multiple abilities. Now on the documentation, I was showing that different type of abilities all come under a certain name. For example, if you're attacking, that means you can hit with a sword, you can be attacking with a bow, you can be headbutting, whatever that thing is. So attacking is a general term. So to make it more specific, I've created a state, which is all the states are, by the way, are children of base player state. This one is a child of attack state, which is also another child of player state, which you can see here. Now the reason I did this was because to override this function, which is something I showed you at the end of the last video. But let's go more into detail. Here you can see on the right side I have attack abilities, and 6 of them no less. But you can't see any of the functions that can perform or something. So you can check the parent, and you can see it all here. So attacking abilities, this array that I have, which this inherits, will have 6 of them. So we can take, for example, let's take a look at counter attack. So counter attack in short will require you to be in a block hit state. So you got hit and you have a shield up, that makes you enter a block hit state. So if you're in block hit and you're in combat, you have a weapon, and the ones you got hit with, there are specific types of hit, not a normal hit reaction and not a large hit reaction. If it's this one or a large one, if any of these are true, which they are both of these abilities are under the blockade state, and the array of the data asset, which is here, contains at least one montage. So the montages here, you can see here, these montages are linked directly to the ability that you have. So this function will return to you whatever is associated with that ability in the data asset. So for example, you have light attack, you have 4 attacks within light attack. So if you go to light attack, you will see me performing this function, which again sets the enemy montages, and based on that, I determine which one to run. You can see it all from here. Let's go back to counter. So you know what this one does right now. So if any of these are true, proceed. So that means this one, this one will be true and the rest will not continue. So if you call this function, which is the, let's go back to it. So if you call the attack function, which is here, this one will attempt checking all these attack abilities, and whatever run true from the beginning, it will perform it. So if this one returns true, this one won't continue, and none of this will continue. If this runs false, it will check this one. If this is false, check this one. If none of them are true, then it won't work at all. So whichever comes true works. If it doesn't, then it won't. So let's go back to where is it? Counter attack ability, and let me explain a little bit about the functions we have right here. Just like the states, you can all override them, no problem. The same thing with the start. It has a start ability, a take ability, and an end ability, and as well as a tag, and if it has a cooldown. Say for example you used one skill and you don't want the skill to be spammed, so you add a cooldown there. This is exactly where you do it. If you check the has cooldown, you can specify the cooldown duration it has. But of course you're gonna have to call some function like I think it was called apply ability cooldown, like this one. And you can check if the ability is cooldown by doing this. Ability cooldown. Where is it? Cooldown. This one is one of them, but there's another function called get is ability on cooldown, like this one. You would use this one and not the variable directly. So that's what I need to show you here. There's also one more thing. End ability doesn't always end on time. That means if you go to any attack that you have, you will see at the end of the attack there is an end ability of gameplay tag, which is something you can specify, or there's something called end ability current active ability, which will check the component for whatever active ability. Now what this will do, or this one, whichever you like, I prefer this one more, it's more automatic. It will go to the active ability, in that case would be the light attack, and it will will end the ability, which will reset the combo attack index. Because light attacks, if you click 3 to 4 times, it will run 3 to 4 animations in order. So by ending the ability without clicking anything, you can see right here I'm ending it right at the end. If nothing is pressed, like no attack is pressed or anything else, that means reset the combo attack, and you can do whatever you want. For me, I'm checking if right mouse button is clicked. If it is, do the blocking. If not, just go back to idle. So any ability you have on the player, make sure end will always result in it going back to idle. Otherwise, the things will break and you will see no more states anymore. Like I said before, if for development, always keep this one connected, so you know there's at least one state active. And that's it for the player part. Now for the AI's part, it's very similar. No big changes in here. Let me just close all this. Abilities are here, states are here. Let's take, for example, close range attacks. There's one key difference between the states of the player and the states of the AI. They have very similar functionality, however, the player is more player dependent. And the AI is more automatic dependent. So to make sure it works as expected, for example, for nature we have an attacking state in here, and this attacking state will, like the player, perform checks for the close range attacks and so on. So just like the animations in there, this one has also a end current active ability, which in return will fire the end ability here. If end ability fires, which you can check from the parent, this will call the decide next state in the current active state. So if attacking ability is active and attacking ability ends, it will end this. It will call the decide next state. Let me just show you. If you go back here and you check its parent on end ability, I'm resetting it back and I'm resetting the current active ability to nothing. At the same time, decide next state on the base AI state class, which is the parent of all the states of the AI. So if this function gets called, you decide here what the AI wants to do next. So let's just say he wants to attack. He attacked you. Now what happens after attacking? You can do all the random checks here, or if you want anything specific, you can specify it. Just like the player, no differences, the state with the gameplay tag, or whatever you like. The only thing I'm doing here is I'm randomizing whatever he wants to do after an attack is finished, and so on. So that's it for the ability component. On the next series, I'm gonna start discussing how to do things on steps. So see you in the next one.